Doug Mastriano is the Republican candidate for Pennsylvania governor. The Democratic candidate for Pennsylvania governor is Josh Shapiro. He's currently the Attorney General of the state. Josh Shapiro is going to be our guest here in just a few minutes tonight. We'll get his response to that and more. But it's been a busy news day, actually a busy few days. Since the last January 6th hearing, prime time on Thursday night, set off a bunch of proverbial bombshells, particularly on the right and in Republican politics. Today, one of the members of the January 6th investigation, Elaine Luria, posted online some additional footage from depositions and witness statements about President Trump's statement to the country on January 7th, which was the day after the attack by Trump supporters on the U.S. Capitol. Now, we've heard a little bit about this so far from the January 6th investigation. We know from testimony previously revealed by the investigation that part of the reason Trump agreed to even make a statement on January 7th, part of the reason he agreed to make a somewhat conciliatory statement about the attack that happened the day after it, is because he'd been advised that if he didn't do something like that, he might be thrown out of office immediately. The cabinet and the vice president really did seem ready to force him out of office using the 25th Amendment of the Constitution, by which they could declare him unfit and force him out. There has been testimony from the investigation thus far that Trump agreed reluctantly to give a speech on January 7th, basically to fend off that possibility. He agreed to give a speech saying, sort of, in a mealy-mouthed way, that maybe the violent riot at the Capitol building the previous day wasn't a totally awesome thing. I snark about that a little bit in terms of characterizing his feelings about it, because we've sort of earned the right to snark about it. We have enough insight into his feelings about that January 7th speech, because the investigation, among other things, released outtakes from his January 7th speech, showing him messing up, having a hard time reading some words, being frustrated with the speech content, but specifically showing him complaining about the parts of the speech that had been written for him that he did not want to say and that he was going to refuse to say.
Whenever you're ready, sir.
I would like to begin by addressing the heinous attack yesterday, and to those who broke the law, you will pay. You do not represent our movement, you do not represent our country, and if you broke the law, you can't say that. I already said you will pay. The demonstrators who infiltrated the Capitol have defied the seat of justice. It's defiled, right? See, I can't see it very well. Okay, I'll do this. I'm going to do this. Let's go. But this election is now over. Congress has certified the results. I don't want to say the election's over. I just want to say Congress has certified the results without saying the election's over, okay?
But Congress is certified. Now Congress is
Yeah, right.
Now Congress
I didn't say over, so let me see. Go to the paragraph before. Okay?
I don't want to say the election is over. I don't want to say the election is over. Those outtakes are some of what we got from the January 6th investigators last week. Now, today, there's no hearing today. There's no hearing scheduled for a few weeks from the January 6th investigation. But nevertheless, today, they released this.
I'm not sure when those conversations began because they could have started early the next morning, but I believe they started that evening, on the evening of the 6th.
I thought we should give the statement on the 7th and obviously move forward on transition.
I sat with her, I spoke to Miller about trying to put together some draft remarks for Jan 7 that we were going to present to the president to try to say. We felt like it was important to further call for de-escalation.
From what I understood at the time, and from what the reports were coming in, there's a large concern of the 25th Amendment potentially being invoked, and there were concerns about what would happen in the Senate if the 25th was invoked. So the primary reason that I had heard, other than, we did not do enough on the 6th, we need to get a stronger message out there and condemn this. Otherwise this will be our legacy. The secondary reason to that was, think about what might happen in the final 15 days of your presidency if we don't do this. There's already talks about invoking the 25th Amendment. You need this as cover.
Do you recognize what this is?
It looks like a copy of a draft of the remarks for that day.
Okay. And as you can see throughout the document, there are lines crossed out. There are some there's some words added in. Do you recognize the handwriting?
It looks like my father's handwriting.
It looks like my father's handwriting, says Ivanka Trump. And luckily for us, he writes in gigantic capital letters in Sharpie. So it's very easy for all of us to read. And so we can now see easily what President Trump insisted he would not say, what he changed in the speech that was written for him to be delivered on January 7th, the day after the U.S. Capitol attack. The draft that he was given starts, good afternoon. He cut that out. Okay. Then it says, I would like to begin today by addressing, and he cuts the word today out of that. Okay. All fine. The draft then says he should say that he is outraged and sickened by the violence. He keeps the outrage. He drops and sickened. Okay, he's just outraged, not sickened, but we're basically still afloat here with the point of the speech until this next paragraph when we start to sink. The draft says, quote, I am directing the Department of Justice to ensure all lawbreakers are prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. We must send a clear message, not with mercy, but with justice. Legal consequences must be swift and firm. He cuts all of that. He will not say he's directing the Justice Department to prosecute to the fullest extent of the law, because, of course, he didn't do that, and he sure doesn't want to say that he's doing that. And here's the next bit that he cuts. The draft written for him for his speech on January 7th says, to those who engaged in acts of violence and destruction, quote, I want to be very clear, you do not represent me, you do not represent our movement. And if you broke the law, quote, you belong in jail. He cuts that. He won't say that the people who broke the law on January 6th, attacking the Capitol, belong in jail. And he won't even say that they don't represent him and they don't represent his movement. And you can see that all crossed out with his big Sharpie. And then you can see in his big all-cap Sharpie handwriting where he swapped in his own language there. He did say, instead of you belong in jail, he did say, you will pay. You will pay. You will pay. By which presumably he meant you will pay for tickets into my next round of for-profit Trump rallies where I will praise you.
January 6th has become the Democrat Party's excuse to justify an unprecedented assault on American civil rights and liberties, appalling persecution of political prisoners. Another thing we'll do, and so many people have been asking me about it, if I run and if I win, we will treat those people from January 6th fairly. We will treat them fairly. And if it requires pardons, we will give them pardons because they are being treated so unfairly.
So right after the attack on the U.S. Capitol by his supporters, there's this draft speech written for him to give the next day. And he only gives it to try to avert himself being forcibly removed from office by the cabinet invoking the 25th Amendment. And that speech, the draft of that speech says, you don't represent me, you don't represent our movement, you belong in jail. He cuts all that and instead just says, you will pay. And then by the time he's talking about it at his rallies, not only is no one supposed to be paying anymore, now they're unfairly persecuted patriots who are all getting pardons if he gets to be president again. This is what happens when there are no consequences for trying to orchestrate this type of attack on the country. The January 6th investigation is not expected to do more public-facing hearings for a few weeks now. That said, nobody expected them to be releasing new material to the public like they did today. So perhaps that's an indication that we may not have to wait for more hearings several weeks from now for them to be continuing to tell the public more of what they know. Meanwhile, the other elements of this investigation and potential routes to accountability proceed in some interesting ways. Today, ABC News was first to report that a very senior person in the Trump White House, the vice president's chief of staff, a man named Mark Short, has newly given testimony not to